loneliness is not an easy sentiment and emotion to deal with. It's not always easy, especially when one is going through a series of events that are out of his or her control.
Yeah.
So then that support will become even more important, Daniel, because obviously then the loneliness would lurk in, and the person would even go even deeper into his loneliness. So the power of exercise, as we know, that helps. The fact that we eat healthy, we walk, we jog, whatever. We don't need to be sports champions. However, exercise, we all know the positive effect that exercise has.
Definitely.
When I'm stressed, I always find and have my spots, and I'm feeling a bit lonely. Sometimes I go for the long run, and all of a sudden it's like I regain purpose. However, when it's a difficult time and you need a little bit of more intervention. So it's not, we shouldn't be afraid or ashamed to ask for help.
Definitely.
And for people to support us, for people, because we're all vulnerable. We're all living in a world where vulnerability may be, we're not accustomed to vulnerability, to being vulnerable, to be weak, to be sensitive. And we all go through it. We're all, even the toughest ones, they're very vulnerable inside.
Yeah.
So it's very important that we find ways and means and support to support us along the way.
And we do live in a chaotic world, in the sense that there's always this comparison that then 50 years ago, 30 years ago, the world was different, and the generational gap and all of these things. But I truly believe that today, 2023, is more chaotic than 1990. Mainly because we are more aware of other fellow humans outside Malta. Let's pick Malta as an example. So the world is more chaotic because we know live what's happening all around the globe. So there is a lot of information going inside ourselves, and there are a lot of
it's happening much faster as well, Daniel. Everything is happening so fast. Even in terms of turmoil, geopolitical turmoil on its own, since COVID, it has been non-stop. And now with the Middle East area, and it seems that it's going to escalate a little bit more. So it's not an easy, pleasant, peaceful environment that we're living anymore.
Yeah.
There's always something happening somewhere. So that's why even our macro cosmic world is affecting these shifts.
And it does kind of have an effect on loneliness.
Totally.
Loneliness. I think what
let's not go through the effects of social media. And the social media, I mean, there are studies nowadays that the lack of belonging and how to be part of the social media. I must admit, LinkedIn is my preferred social media channel. So and Instagram as well, because I love pictures. I'm very visual, so I love happy, nice nature pics usually. So less content and more photographs somehow.
That's the interesting part of the algorithm, that it gives you what you need so that you can stay longer on the app. So at least if you seek positive things, it will give you positive things as well. But if you seek news, for example, I don't follow.
Then Instagram
news.
Can be very negative.
Yes, it can. So it depends on
what you look for,
what you're looking for. So it happens on its own.
Yes. However, there is an effect. Yes, of definitely it affects individuals and groups of the belonging. So you might actually feel lonelier because it's all about how many likes, how many followers do I have. If I post something, if people find it interesting and not interesting, then am I good enough? Again, it's at another level now because we're competing at an international level. So it's very, very tricky.
I think it's a sad reality, but true in a way. I don't find it sad. I find it reassuring personally. But we are our own best friend. So there is no one who can give us more insurance than ourselves. So that is why I'm very fond of on self-growth, because if I train myself, you mentioned exercise. If I exercise my brain and my emotions well enough, then I'm able to handle me. And if I'm able to handle me, I'm able to handle others as well.
Totally.
And it's not about just embracing loneliness. It's just about, okay, I have whatever happens, you think, what's the worst that can happen? I have me. Even if I'm lonely, I have me. And we've become accustomed not to feel comfortable, or this is an overarching statement perhaps, but we've become accustomed that we're not okay with just being on our own.
Because there is an expectation that even when we go to a restaurant and we find someone eating on his or her own, we're like, oh, how come?
Yeah.
I remember during my work trips, most of the time I used to be on my own, and I actually had, in outside in cities, it's very common. It's very common to find people on their own, walking on their own, eating at restaurants on their own, at coffee shops. Now it has become even more common with digital nomads having their laptop. They plug in from anywhere and work from anywhere, actually. So it's better in a way. However, yes, we're not very much at when we're socializing, especially the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
Mediterranean people, it's all about coming together, right? The coming together. Every other excuse, let's go for a coffee, let's go for a drink, let's go for a party, let's go for a meal. There's this togetherness, and we don't have a culture really of being on our own, but of belonging into a bigger group.
Mm-hmm.
So, however, we have to respect those people actually that actually enjoy being on their own, because I know a good number of people that feel better in smaller groups or actually on their own.